I met privately with the President of the Russian Federation. Our discussion went beyond trade and security to address the moral duty of global leaders to defend justice. I raised the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, explaining that his case is bigger than one man. It reflects what Africa stands for in the eyes of the world, and whether we will continue to silence our own voices for justice or unite to uphold universal human rights. I explained clearly that Nnamdi Kanu's voice has awakened millions. Agree or disagree with his methods, his message resonates with many Africans who feel unheard, unrepresented, and neglected. I told him that Kanu's imprisonment has become a symbol not of division, but of the unfinished business of African freedom. The Russian president listened closely. He asked questions not as a politician seeking advantage, but as a man trying to understand the deeper current behind this issue. We spoke about the political implications, but also about humanity, the simple truth that no one should be punished indefinitely for speaking their mind, especially when that speech seeks justice. I told him plainly, what happens to Nnamdi Kanu affects the moral balance of Africa. When one voice of freedom is silenced, every other voice grows weaker. And when one African is unjustly caged, the rest of us remain partly enslaved. He nodded and responded thoughtfully. He said, Africa deserves to breathe freely. It deserves leaders who protect its conscience, not imprison it. Those words struck me deeply. I urged him to use his country's diplomatic weight to open channels of conversation, not confrontation with the Nigerian government. I made it clear that the goal is not interference but mediation, not pressure but peace. The Russian Federation, I said, can help foster dialogue that respects Nigeria's sovereignty while promoting justice and humanitarian principles. He agreed that lasting peace is built not by suppressing truth but by confronting it. He said Russia would be open to facilitating talks that encourage a peaceful and fair resolution, and to standing with African nations that seek equity rather than exploitation. We both understood that Africa's struggles are not isolated. Every unjust imprisonment, every silenced truth, weakens the moral foundation of the global order. The same world that speaks loudly of democracy must also listen when Africans demand it in their own way. As I left Moscow, I carried with me a renewed belief that justice can still prevail, not through force, but through cooperation and moral courage. The Russian president's response gave me hope that the world is beginning to understand Africa's new tone. We are no longer asking for permission to be free. We are asserting our right to live in dignity. Nnamdi Kanu's case has become more than a legal issue. It is now a moral test for Nigeria, for Africa, and for all who claim to stand for justice. If we can unite to ensure his fair release and humane treatment, then perhaps we can also unite to redefine Africa's destiny. I will continue to speak, not out of sentiment, but out of duty. History will not forgive silence when justice calls. I believe that one day soon, Africa will look back and remember this moment as the turning point when nations began to act with conscience, and when the world began to listen to Africa not as a subject, but as a partner. For Nnamdi Kanu, and for every voice silenced by power, we will not stop